There's clearly two best teams in the American League. It's the Astros and it's the Yankees. So what I want to do now is who between those two won the trade deadline? I'm going to pick the Yankees or the Astros in terms of, hey, these are the two best teams. Which two won the deadline? Which team won the deadline over the other? So let's look into this. Yankees add, as I just talked a lot about, Montas, Trevino, Benintendi. They get Gallo off the team, which could be beneficial in the long run. Astros add, they also lost Jordan Montgomery there in the rotation. That's a pretty big loss that just came down the wire here as the deadline was happening. Yankees got Benintendi, Scott Efros, Frankie Montas, Lou Trevino, and they traded one top 5 prospect. So I have declared the Yankees winners of the deadline, but what they gave up to do it, they crushed this deadline. They held on to Jason Dominguez. They held on to Anthony Volpe. Those are the two big guys. They gave up one top 5 prospect for all of those names I just mentioned. Fantastic job there. On the other side, the Houston Astros, who are already a very complete team and appear to be, and have always appeared to be, I mentioned this earlier in the year, the American League is still the Houston Astros until somebody knocks them off. The Astros are the team to beat in the American League. And everybody said, oh, Ben, you're so dumb. How dare you? The Yankees are so good, and they have more wins than anybody in the history of the game. This is no discredit to the Yankees. The Yankees are a great team, and I do believe they will be in the playoffs and do really good, and that we're on a collision course for these two teams to play. But the Astros have been the team to beat in the American League for years now. And the Yankees have proven that they struggle beating the Astros in the playoffs. And then we advanced a little bit, and the two teams played 7 games against each other. The Astros won 5 of them, and the Yankees never once in 7 games came to the plate with a lead. They were dominated by the Astros. The Astros go out and add to a team that already appeared to be pretty complete. They add Trey Mancini, who can fill in at first base. Yuli Gurriel hasn't been near as good as he was last year. He's been much better this year. And they add Trey Mancini, and they add Christian Vasquez. Catcher was a need as well. Not a huge need, but it gives them a lot more ability to mix and match and do what they want there. Trey Mancini, Christian Vasquez, the big additions there. Will Smith in the back end of the bullpen, big addition. The winner between the Yankees and the Astros at this year's trade deadline, it's the New York Yankees. The Yankees were unbelievably good at the trade deadline. This was the Yankees that I grew up saying, the feared Yankees that if they wanted something at the deadline, they went and got it. You know what the Yankees wanted? They wanted a pitcher. They wanted an outfielder. They wanted a reliever. They did that, and they did that fantastically. They got Frankie Montas. They got an outfielder that's an all-star in Benintendi, and they got a good reliever. Lou Trevino is really good. So I look at this. I look at it this way. The Yankees accomplished their perfect offseason, their perfect trade deadline. They got everything they wanted. They addressed everything. The Astros, in a perfect world, they seem to be pretty all in on Josh Bell at a certain point. They didn't get Josh Bell. They got Trey Mancini, who is very, very good. I love Trey Mancini. But was this the perfect trade deadline for the Astros? I don't know. It seemed like they wanted Josh Bell, who ends up getting moved to the Padres in the Juan Soto deal. So they both really improved. They're both clearly on a collision course for each other in the ALCS. These two teams addressed the trade deadline to face each other in October, to face each other for 7 games. Now, an interesting little tidbit here. Interesting little fact here. The Yankees went out and got an elite starting pitcher, which they needed. Now, these two teams are seemingly preparing to face each other. Frankie Montas' numbers against the Houston Astros are not very good. Now, I know you can't plan and say, hey, we're going to get this guy just to face, just to do this. And it's just numbers in the past. But that stuff does matter. So you get Montas to be able to beat the Astros in the playoffs. The Astros hit him well. But I'm not overthinking this one here. The Yankees had a phenomenal deadline, and they only gave up one top 5 prospect to do it. So the winner of the American League trade deadline was very clearly the New York Yankees.
Thanks for watching. If you love flipping bats, swinging 3-0, or just talking ball, join us. Call us at 213-537-9339 with your questions. We have a weekly guest, and we have a lot of fun, so hit that subscribe button.